In this instance, Chazen pleaded guilty. The guidelines recommended a sentence of 78 to 97 months. The prosecution argued that should be what the sentence was. And you sentenced Chazen to just 28 months. Why did you sentence someone who had child pornography of toddlers being sexually abused to 28 months, 64% below what the prosecutors asked for?
Senator, so if you're listening to my voice today and you're on a computer looking at child pornography and you get caught, I hope your sentence is enhanced, because the computer and the internet is feeding the beast here, that all these images out there are going to be more over time because people use computers.
Help me understand this, Judge. Why is it that what's your policy disagreement with the guidelines treating images, videos, pornographic images that have small children, infants, 7, 8, 9-year-olds? Why won't you give an enhancement for those? Help me understand that.
Child pornography, yes, that is the issue that most senators, Republican senators of the Judiciary Committee are hyper focused on in this, and we'll get to why. I do want to say that Ketanji Brown Jackson had very strong and clear responses when accused of giving lesser sentences to people who are passing around or downloading child pornography. She explained it over and over and over again. She primarily explained that she doesn't just take what a prosecutor recommends. You look at also the defense, you look at the totality, as a judge does, of every single case. To say nothing of some of the minimum sentences or the mandatory minimum sentences that actually do not apply in cases of child pornography. It has not been updated by Congress. So she also explains things like there's a difference between spending 2 minutes on the internet doing something heinous versus spending 10 years creating and spreading and doing something heinous. They had no understanding of that differentiation. Of course, because that's not what they're doing this for. David, what do you make of this particular line of attack?
Well, again, I sort of, part of me thinks that maybe they do understand the way that federal sentencing guideline operates, because there have been federal judges that Lindsey Graham and Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz voted to confirm, who also had cases where they went with a downward departure from the sentencing guidelines for somebody who's convicted of child pornography. So if they didn't have a question for the Republican nominated judge who gave the downward departure, why is it that they're doing it now? Well, simply because of politics, because they feel that this is they can score some political points by somehow suggesting that an African-American woman must be tied in with child pornography, and it sets off alarm bells with all the QAnon supporters out there that Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz want to fire up in case they want to run for president again. It's complete nonsense, and it's total hypocrisy.
Absolutely, and you touched on something that is right on the money, which is the QAnon conspiracy. So these senators are absolutely trying to win over and call the attention of some of the most unhinged and violent, let's be honest, the number of cases of domestic violence, of murder, of failed attempts to uncover a Hillary Clinton pedophile ring in a pizza parlor in DC, like a violent base, but they're all about it. And the New York Times did a really good job at looking at how this is actually impacting some of that base. So a QAnon supporter, Zak Paine, declared in a video recently, quote, an apologist for child molesters, asserting without evidence that Democrats were repeatedly, quote, elevating pedophiles and people who can change the laws surrounding punishment for pedophiles. Then there's the QAnon Telegram channels on Wednesday, which grew very agitated. Quote, she has committed unbelievable crimes against humanity with her judgeship, one user wrote. If she gets confirmed, the victims remain victims and trapped in the misery bestowed on them, said another. Some of them talked of violence. Oh my God, nothing new for that crowd. It's funny how they hate violence, but anyway, I don't know. Another person who's actually echoing this is QAnon mastermind himself, Ron Watkins, the former website administrator, that's all he was totally, who is widely believed to have played a major role in writing anonymous Q posts. Mr. Watkins, who has denied any part in the Q messages, is actually running for Republican nomination to an Arizona congressional seat, largely on the strength of his QAnon association. And this week, guess what? And we're gonna talk about it in a little bit. He qualified for the ballot. Gross. Here's what he wrote. Judge Jackson is a pedophile enabler. He wrote on Wednesday on social media, any senator who votes to confirm her nomination is also a pedophile enabler. Funny, I thought you ran a whole website that was like free of censorship, quote unquote. I'm sure there was no child pornography ever being passed along 8chan. Huh? No, I'm sure, totally sure that never happened. Just before I kick it to you, David, for those of you who may not know, I mean, there is a base of Q supporters within the Republican Party. It's not the majority, but it's a base. Polls suggest that QAnon supporters continue to make up a significant portion of the Republican base, even after Trump's departure from office contradicted Q's predictions. One poll last October found that 60% of Trump voters had heard of QAnon, and 3 out of 10 of those Republicans viewed it favorably. 3 out of 10 favorably, which means 7 out of 10 are like, could be, right? And 1 out of 10 is currently under a bridge in Dallas waiting for JFK Jr. to come back as they are drinking literal Kool-Aid. And talking to a man with a bird on his shoulder. David, why? Why are they doing this? Like, why attract arguably the most dangerous and craziest parts of your own party? Maybe I'm answering my own question.
Yeah, no, look, I think you are answering. I mean, why do people believe in QAnon? I think it's because society is going through so many different changes and people don't want to accept that because of modern technology and the way that reform is happening so quickly. People can't handle it. So it's easier just to believe that Democrats are a bunch of pedophiles and are protecting a pedophile ring. As far as why the Republicans are sort of making this play, I mean, I think you identified it in that if 3 out of 10 Republicans looks favorably upon QAnon, that's 30%. Who, by the way, are very politically active and likely to be even more politically active in primaries or in presidential primary votes. So if you're a presidential candidate, or even if you're a congressional candidate and you need to get your base, how do you rally your base? You go to the people who are most active. These are the people in QAnon. So there's gotta be some, I guess, nod by some of the Republicans to the crazies. Even if you ask Lindsey Graham, you ask Ted Cruz, you ask Josh Hawley, you pull them away from the cameras and you ask them on the record, what do you think of this QAnon stuff? They will tell you, these people are crazy. It's insanity, it's nonsense. But they can't say that on the record. And on camera, they've got to give a nod to it, because if they have any hopes in terms of their own presidential ambitions for higher office, they have to have that base with them. And as a result, we have this bizarre scene that played out this week in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, where people who are pretty smart, I mean, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, they went to Ivy League, law schools, they are playing this silly game. That's how craven they are politically.
I mean, I'm disgusted by it because there's no Democrat who will actually stand up for it, and there's not even media outlets who will honestly ask them, hey, what do you think of the supporters who voted for you, who like your politics, who believe in this conspiracy theory that has led to the death of young children? A QAnon crazed dude, obviously deemed mentally unfit, killed his own children because he believed his children were the devil. Because like the QAnon conspiracy told him that. Like there have been multiple instances, but no media outlet nor any senator would ever talk about them because it's too weird, it's too bizarre, and yet that is what's making up the base of their opposing party. So I'm like, every question you get, you're like, do you agree with this? What do you think of this case? Well, you believe in protecting children. What about a man who murdered his own children because he believed they were possessed by the devil? Like, I mean, obviously we know what they're gonna say.
Well, and the cynic in me is that they would say, look, and I've had some conversations with people before who have blown my mind by saying, look, these people are gonna be crazy regardless. They might as well be our crazy. If it's not QAnon, they're gonna believe in some other sort of conspiracy theory, like 9/11 was an inside job or whatever it is. These people are nuts. We might as well have them on our team so at least we can benefit politically. That's how craven the political calculation is. It's terrible for the country. Maybe it's good politics if you're on the far right, but again, there once was a time where people put country ahead of party. That doesn't happen anymore, particularly on the right.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.